What's up YouTube, Life with a Pepperoni here, and today we kind of have a little bit different, and I just want to do like a little short thing of some stuff that I've got, just because it's coming up in a new project and I've never seen this relation before, so I'm just going to go on with it. So what I have here is a 1949 Ford Flathead 8BA. So it came in all Fords from 1949 to 1954, the Flathead V8, the 239 cubic inch. And then right here, we have a 2015 Ford 2-liter Ecoboost. So they came in all the Ford Fusion, the Ford Edge, Transit, a lot of other things. They came in Mazdas in a different name. They came in Ford Mustangs as a 2.3 liter. There are millions and millions of these motors, and that's what I'm going to be putting into my next project. But I just want to give you guys like a size comparison and kind of like a looky-do of a comparison between the two, just to show you that they're over 65 years apart and the size is very similar and they're just different engines altogether. So my buddy had brought this engine down from Alberta. This is the 1949 engine. It was his daily driver in a shoebox. He had just built a nice motor to put in. It ran good compression and everything. He's just like, I'm upgrading. I seen it on Marketplace, sent him a message. He's like, oh, hey, like, yeah, I'll be able to save it for you and so on. So I picked this up in case the Roadster motor doesn't run. I think it will, and I'm sure it will. Like, it has compression, has spark, it's gonna have fuel because I have a new carb, so it has all the formula to make it run. We'll just see if it does the thing it's supposed to do. But if not, I have this motor to go in. If not, I will use it in another project. This engine right here is gonna be the main heart of the 36 Ford. So this is, like I mentioned before, the 2015 Ford EcoBoost. They came out in 2012, earlier in Europe, and they're still made today, just in a different format. These had a problem with their head. They cracked the head and a couple other things. They were just like, not the most robust, but for me, it'll do for what I'm doing. Okay, so these flatheads are 239 cubic inch. They're a V8. They put out a whopping maybe 110 horse, 80 to 90 horse on a good day. And that is a 2-liter 4-cylinder. So they're a direct injection motor, which means the injectors are actually underneath here. You can see them down there, and they go straight into the head. So the actual injector is in the combustion chamber. Where this old beauty right here is just a little carburetor. So it has just a 2-barrel carb. The fuel and air go down there. Does a bunch of combustion things and kind of does what it has to do to make it run. So what else can we do kind of here? This one, the newer motor has coil on plug, which the coil packs are right here. So these are what make your spark, where this engine has a distributor and spark plug leads to each one. And among a lot of other things, this one has air conditioning. That one doesn't even have an alternator. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you guys like a comparison, like size-wise and everything, because you Google these motors, you see they make really good power, they're really reliable, really good on fuel, but you never see a size comparison that even I didn't know. Like, I was expecting this motor to be a lot smaller, but it's kind of the same size as the Flathead. Like, it's width-wise. Let's get a tape measure out. Width-wise, at the widest point, let's say there, we're looking at, let's say 21 inches. Here, this doesn't have the turbo on it. So let's say there's a turbo on it. We'll give it 5 inches. We're at like 22. So width-wise, they're about the same. Let's see height-wise. So this one's on the oil pan, and this one's also on the oil pan. We're looking about 26, let's say 25 and a half, 26 inches. Where the flathead with a carb would be a bit more, be probably 30 inches with a carburetor, but that can look cool through a hood. You know what I mean? Like, they're just different but the same. By same, I mean they're not the same at all. They're combustion engines. So this is a 21 stud, and the 8BA over there that I showed you guys is a 24 stud. So later on in the years, you have a bit more studs, and that's just a later model. They use this with the integrated bell housing till, correct me guys, I think 38, 39, and then they swapped over to the shorter bell housing, and then you can use adapters and stuff where this had the bell housing kind of built into the engine block. There's a few differences with water pumps and everything else, but you guys can do that research yourself. I just kind of wanted to show you the 21 stud versus 24 stud, which is here. See how these ones aren't in a line? There's a little gap there. That's how you tell. So in a line, it's a 21 stud. Gap, it's 24 stud. The 24 studs are, they don't have Babbitt bearings. The 21 stud has Babbitt bearings, which are bearings that are molded into the actual engine block themselves. So you have to take the whole block apart, and you actually have to cast lead bearings into the actual block. So it's a whole process. It's used on tractors and stuff still, but it's not very popular, and it's very old, and it's not efficient. Correct me when I'm wrong, guys, but that's just what I know of it, and that's how I'm going. I've always been taught and told if you're going to do a flathead, do it 39 and newer, do a 8BA or a 59A. 59A has, I'm learning, has the different water pumps, the shorter and stuff, but I'm not a flathead expert at all. I'm just comparing flatheads to an Ecoboost. So yeah. And since we're looking at the other, the 8BA, this engine here is they don't really have a specific name, but this is based off the heads. And this is called a 21 stud. So the other one is a 24 stud. Fuck. So yeah, there's the 2015 Ecoboost, and that's the 1949 8BA flathead. They're pretty much the same size. The flathead being a bit taller after all the accessories and stuff. The generator has to go in the front and such, but yeah, it's kind of the stuff that I've never seen comparison on because you wouldn't really compare it, but it will fit in the area that the flathead came from. And yeah, I guess that's kind of all it shows. So yeah, it's definitely not as cool looking. The 2-liter, it's not as old looking. It's got an alternator on it, has a couple other things, but they're two completely different purposes. This is gonna be putting out double the power, half the size. This is gonna be putting half the power, but double the coolness of sounds and double the coolness in general. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was super quick. I know it wasn't gonna be long, but I have never seen this comparison done before. And I wanted to show you guys because I had both here before I put them in storage. So click like, hit subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy, and see you guys later. So here's the timing on the flathead. Where's this? Oh. So here's the distributor. So this turns, makes your timing, and this goes to wires, which then goes to your spark plugs. Where on the Ecoboost, this ring here, there's probably 1 or 2 missing on it, and there's a sensor here, a Hall effect sensor, and that counts the teeth and lets you know where your actual timing is on the engine. So these engines are pretty simple as far as anything goes. You have your alternator right here, you have your water pump, you have a tensioner pulley, and then you have your AC. So I won't be using the AC, so it'll just be a real nice, simple water pump system. Since this engine doesn't have a power steering pump, I'll have to go with an electric power steering pump, electric manual rack, an electric steering column, some sort of newer era steering solution if I want power steering, or I can just do a manual steering rack, whatever I do. So that's kind of like the unfortunate thing about here, but we have solutions. Since this is a 2-liter EcoBoost out of a front-wheel drive car, it has a center plenum intake manifold, a center feed, as the aftermarket guys put it. A lot of guys go to a center feed because it's just equal runners to each cylinder and it's just more efficient, where this engine comes from factory with it. If you get a 2.3-liter EcoBoost out of a Ranger, a Bronco, or a Mustang, this pipe here actually comes forward and the throttle body sits here like a traditional rear-wheel drive intake manifold on a 4-cylinder, and then your plenum is here instead of here. I'm gonna try use this setup just because I have it already. It's cheap. I just have to make turbo piping from here to my intercooler, which will be somewhere around here, and I'm gonna try and make it work. If it works, cool. If not, then I'll just have to find a Mustang or a rear-wheel drive intake manifold that we'll use. And just for fun, I put both of the motors on this like little cart thing, and these two motors together make less power than the EcoBoost, which is hilarious considering this probably weighs, I think a flathead weighs around 650, 700 pounds, like fully loaded. So there's probably 1,000 pounds at least on here. And that thing I can move with my hands, and I can probably pick it up if I want to. It's probably like 350, 400 pounds. No, it's probably like 300 to 350 pounds. I'll put the exact weight right here, and I'll put the exact weight of these bad boys right here, and a combined weight. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because these two don't make up the horsepower this little engine makes, but they sound way, way better in every single way. There's zero argument. I mean, like, you can argue and you're going to comment and you're going to do what you're going to do, but I want to hear what you guys, maybe I'll get a 2-liter EcoBoost sound and I'll get some flathead sounds too. And then you guys can let me know what you think. But I think it'd be pretty funny. And we'll see. I'm really interested if I'm going to be able to build a nice exhaust for the 36 that doesn't sound like a 4-cylinder. But that's going to be a challenge. Oh, I got some organization skills from Kyle Carter, Carter's Auto Restyling. Kyle Carter, Carter's Auto Restyling. So excuse the mess. I have a very small place to work in. But if some of you guys may have seen in the video, this engine right here. So that is a Volkswagen VR6. That is a 6-cylinder. So that kind of goes in between here. But that's a 4-cylinder, 2-liter. That's a 2.6-liter, 6-cylinder. So there's piston, 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 piston. Port, 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 port. And it's a 6 kind of like this. It's a 15-degree V. So it's completely different than these other ones. I'm not doing a comparison. They're like a 250 horse naturally aspirated. I think this is 12 valves, so like a dual overhead cam engine, but that's not part of this. We're dealing with these boat anchors and that Ecoboost